Hi, my name is Emma. I'm going to tell you the story of my first day at my new job. I woke up to the sharp beeping of my alarm clock. It was the day I had been waiting for. My first day at my new job. Excitement and nerves swirled in my stomach as I climbed out of bed. Standing in front of my closet, I debated what to wear. Professional, but not too formal, I whispered, pulling out a navy blue blazer and pants. After dressing up, I made myself a quick cup of coffee. As I sipped it, I glanced out the window, watching the city wake up. "You can do this," I said aloud, trying to boost my confidence. I grabbed my bag and stepped out the door, feeling a mixture of optimism and anxiety. The crisp morning air greeted me as I made my way down the street. The thought of meeting new colleagues kept running through my mind. Would they like me? Would I make a good impression? I shook off the doubts, focusing on the opportunity ahead. My small apartment, though cozy, felt like a world away from the professional life I was about to enter. I was determined to make this day count. The bustling streets were alive with energy as I joined the flow of commuters. The aroma of fresh bread from a bakery made me smile. Navigating the public transport system proved to be a small challenge. I struggled with the ticket machine, earning a few impatient glances from people behind me. Finally, I boarded the train, squeezing into a corner seat. The rhythmic clatter of the train on the tracks was oddly calming. I glanced at the cityscape rushing by through the window, wondering about the stories of the people around me. My reflection in the glass showed a mix of nervousness and excitement. The announcer called my stop, and I quickly gathered my things. Following the directions on my phone, I found myself walking through a neighborhood I had never explored before. It was a charming mix of old and new, with small shops lining the streets. My steps quickened as the building came into view. The towering glass facade of the office building sparkled in the sunlight. It was a sight to behold, and for a moment, I felt a pang of intimidation. I paused, took a deep breath, and reminded myself why I was here. This was the start of something new and exciting. Walking through the revolving doors, I was greeted by the hum of activity inside the lobby. The polished marble floors and modern decor exuded professionalism. I approached the reception desk, trying to appear confident. "Hi, I'm Emma. Today is my first day," I said with a smile. The receptionist welcomed me warmly and handed me a visitor badge. "The elevator to the 14th floor is straight ahead," she said. Her kind demeanor put me at ease. I clipped the badge to my blazer and made my way to the elevator, rehearsing my introduction in my head. The elevator doors opened to reveal a bright and spacious office. The sound of keyboards clicking and phones ringing filled the air. My heart raced as I stepped out, scanning the room for a familiar face. A friendly woman approached me and introduced herself as Sarah, my mentor for the week. Sarah's warm smile and calm demeanor instantly made me feel comfortable. She guided me through the open office, pointing out important areas like the pantry and meeting rooms. The environment was bustling yet welcoming, and I couldn't wait to get started. Sarah led me to my desk, where a small welcome card with my name on it was waiting. It was a simple gesture, but it made me feel included. I sat down, taking a moment to absorb the atmosphere. The office had an open layout with collaborative spaces and a positive vibe. As we walked through the office, Sarah introduced me to a few colleagues. Some greeted me warmly, while others offered polite nods. I couldn't help but notice the diversity within the team. Each introduction came with a bit of background about their roles, which helped me feel more connected. During our tour, Sarah pointed out a small coffee corner where employees gathered to chat. "It's the heart of the office," she joked, and I made a mental note to visit it later. Her sense of humor and approachability put me at ease. She seemed genuinely invested in making my transition smooth. By the end of the tour, I felt a little more confident. Sarah handed me a folder with my first tasks, assuring me that she'd be available for guidance. Sitting at my desk, I glanced at the welcome card again. I felt a mix of excitement and determination to prove myself. The folder Sarah gave me contained a checklist of tasks, starting with reviewing documents and drafting a summary. It sounded straightforward, but I felt a wave of self-doubt. What if I made a mistake? What if my work didn't meet expectations? I decided to focus on one task at a time, just as Sarah had suggested. As I read through the documents, I began to find patterns and connections. It was challenging but also rewarding. I took notes, organizing my thoughts before drafting the summary. Each step made me feel more capable. After completing the draft, I hesitated before handing it to Sarah. "This is great work, Emma," she said after reviewing it. Her encouragement lifted my spirits, and I felt a surge of confidence. It was a small victory, but it meant the world to me on my first day. Sarah suggested a few improvements, guiding me through the revision process. Her mentorship was invaluable, and I realized how much I could learn from her. By the time I submitted the final version, I felt a sense of accomplishment I hadn't expected. The day continued with more tasks, each building on the skills I was developing. I felt a growing sense of belonging, knowing I was contributing to the team's efforts. This was just the beginning, but it already felt like a step in the right direction. When lunchtime arrived, I decided to join some colleagues in the break room. The atmosphere was lively, filled with conversations and laughter. I grabbed a cup of coffee, but as I turned, I accidentally spilled it on the table. Embarrassed, I apologized quickly, but to my surprise, the group laughed it off. "Happens to the best of us," one of them said, handing me a napkin. The moment, though awkward, broke the ice and led to a friendly conversation. As we chatted, I learned about their favorite lunch spots nearby and heard stories about their own first days. It was reassuring to know that everyone had faced similar challenges. Their humor and openness made me feel welcome. One colleague, James, invited me to join them for lunch at a local cafe. It was a charming spot, and the conversation flowed easily. By the end of the break, I felt like I was starting to find my place within the team. Returning to the office, I felt more connected than ever. I noticed the camaraderie among my colleagues, and it gave me hope for the relationships I could build here. Lunch wasn't just a break. It was a turning point. As the afternoon went on, I focused on completing more tasks. One of them involved analyzing data for a report. I hesitated, worried about making mistakes, but decided to give it my best effort. When I submitted the report to Sarah, she took a moment to review it. To my surprise, she smiled and said, "This is excellent work, Emma. You have an eye for detail." Her words filled me with pride. Later, during a team meeting, Sarah mentioned my contribution, and a few colleagues nodded in approval. It was unexpected, but it made me feel valued and confident that I could handle the challenges ahead. After the meeting, a senior colleague approached me to compliment my work. "Great job on the report," he said. "It's clear you put a lot of thought into it." His feedback motivated me to continue giving my best. The praise I received was more than just validation. It was a sign that I was on the right track. It boosted my confidence and made me eager to tackle the next challenge. This was the encouragement I needed to keep moving forward. As the workday came to an end, I packed my bag and glanced around the office. The initial nerves from the morning felt like a distant memory. I had survived my first day. Walking home, I replayed the moments in my head, the small victories, the embarrassing coffee spill, and the kind words from Sarah. Each memory brought a mix of pride and relief. I paused for a moment at a small park near my apartment, sitting on a bench to enjoy the evening air. Watching families and joggers pass by, I felt a sense of calm that had eluded me earlier. The day had been full of challenges, but also moments of joy. When I got home, I sent a quick message to my best friend, sharing the highlights of the day. Her reply was full of encouragement. "You've got this," she wrote, and for the first time, I truly believed it. My first day was just the beginning of something exciting. Later that night, I treated myself to my favorite comfort food, a small celebration for getting through the day. Sitting on my couch with a bowl of pasta, I smiled, knowing tomorrow would bring new opportunities to grow. Before going to bed, I sat by my desk and opened my journal. I wrote down everything I had experienced that day, the good, the awkward, and the inspiring moments. As I reflected, I realized how much support I had received from Sarah and the team. Feeling grateful, I composed a quick email to Sarah. I thanked her for her patience and guidance, letting her know how much her support meant to me. Hitting send, I felt a sense of closure for the day. After sending the email, I decided to write a post-it note for myself, sticking it to my mirror. "You did it. One step at a time." Seeing it every morning would remind me of how far I had come. Scrolling through my phone before bed, I noticed an email from HR with an invitation to a new employee social event later in the week. It felt like the perfect chance to connect further and build new relationships. I ended the night with a smile, knowing I had taken the first step in what I hoped would be a long and rewarding journey. As I turned off the lights, I felt a sense of peace, knowing I was ready to face whatever came next. As I drifted off to sleep, my thoughts turned to the future. What challenges and opportunities would tomorrow bring? I felt a growing sense of determination to embrace every moment, learn as much as I could, and prove to myself that I belonged. The first day had been a whirlwind of emotions, but it had also been a reminder of my resilience. I had faced my fears, adapted to new situations, and found connections in an unfamiliar environment. Whatever lay ahead, I was ready to face it with confidence and curiosity. The next morning, I woke up early and reviewed the tasks planned for the week. The structured checklist gave me a sense of direction, and I felt more prepared than the day before. On my way to work, I picked up coffee from a small cafe near the office. The barista greeted me warmly, and I realized how small moments like this added comfort to my new routine. The world felt a little less intimidating, and I was eager to see how the day would unfold. Arriving at the office, I spotted Sarah at her desk. She waved and smiled, and I knew I wasn't alone on this journey. Together, we would tackle the challenges ahead, and I was ready to make the most of every opportunity.